Hello and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News. Today I want to tell you about Dan Crenshaw's plan to bring some measure of accountability to the ATF and how NPR isn't even trying to get it right anymore, plus lots more. But before we get started, I want to tell you about the wholesome, non-GMO, free-range, sugar-free, gluten-free, 99% cruelty-free night vision products offered to you by our friends at TNVC.com. Handcrafted by honest, hardworking Amish operators using traditional old country techniques, TNVC night vision is hearty and refreshing, just like you. If you like seeing stuff more than not seeing stuff, take a look at our sponsor, TNVC.com, your source for quality night vision gear to make you the bump in the night. Congress critter Dave Crenshaw is a polarizing character, to say the least. I know a lot of you hate on him like it's your job, and for what it's worth, I don't really blame you, but my personal, entirely pragmatic, and not affiliated with ARFCOM in any way opinion is he is more friendly to the right to bear arms than Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, Mitch McConnell, or dozens of other politicians. I disagree with him on some issues, and I wish he had more vehemently rejected red flag laws, but I think the vitriol directed at him is not entirely earned. We don't do party politics on this here channel, though. We only do gun rights issues, so I'll leave it at that. Regardless of how Crenshaw makes you feel, I think he deserves our respect for sponsoring H.R. 1961, the ATF Accountability Act of 2021. Right now, there is no way for gun makers and dealers to redress grievances with the ATF other than to file a lawsuit, which really means there is simply nothing smaller gun makers and sellers can do in any practical sense if they disagree with the ATF's position on something. But H.R. 1961 would define a process where FFO holders can write to the Director of Industry Operations and receive an opinion in writing and appeal that decision to a judge. It's the kind of simple, moderate bill which is limited enough in scope that I can't possibly imagine any rational basis to oppose it, except of course to protect the ability of petty bureaucrats to unilaterally dictate policy without accountability. But it is currently languishing in the House Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, and Homeland Security, so let's put some pressure on the committee members. No matter what state you live in, please pause the video right now and call 202-224-3121 and take the time to speak with as many of these fine committee members as you have the time for. Tell them government should be accountable, transparent, and responsive to the people. Tell them to move H.R. 1961 to the floor for a vote. The Texas Supreme Court has ruled you cannot sue a retailer just because somebody did something bad with a product they sold. On the 5th of November 2017, some asshole used a sport utility rifle manufactured by Ruger to end the lives of 26 people. It was illegal for him to purchase a firearm, but the background check failed to identify him as a prohibited possessor. At the time, it was also illegal in Texas for members of the congregation to be armed, so there was practically no chance of resistance, but Stephen Williford heard the shooting and vibe-checked the asshole using his own sport utility rifle. Afterwards, some of the survivors and victims' families sued Academy Sports for selling the rifle because the asshole was a prohibited possessor and he was from Colorado, where standard capacity magazines are banned, and the rifle ships with one standard AR mag. But on June 25th of this year, the Texas Supreme Court unanimously ruled Academy could not be sued for selling the rifle.
And there was much rejoicing.
Oh, NPR, you're so cute when you're wrong, which is, a lot. I remember when public broadcasting was considered trustworthy and more or less unbiased, but as the influence of legacy media fades, their bias becomes more and more obvious. Look, we are all biased, and attempts to pretend otherwise are disingenuous. It is better to be upfront about your beliefs, be as accurate as you can, and let your audience make their own decisions. but propaganda is a lot more effective when it pretends to be the God's honest truth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure some of this issue can be explained by just simple laziness and incompetence rather than intentional propagandizing, but it's not like that's any better. For example, NPR recently reported on their show Here and Now there are about 400 sanctuary counties in the U.S., but as AmmoLand pointed out, that number is actually closer to 2,000. Even if you ignore the counties, which are located in sanctuary states but did not actually pass their own sanctuary resolution, and consider only the ones which are proactively and independently sanctuary counties, there are still almost 4 times the number of counties reported by NPR. So, how did they manage to get this so far wrong? Probably by referring to a 1.5-year-old article on The Trace, which is Bloomberg's propaganda arm, not so discreetly masquerading as a news organization. This is the perfect confluence of laziness and activism for many journalists. By citing The Trace, they can avoid doing any real work and they can promote their own authoritarian agenda at the same time. That is, if they bother to reference the source at all anyway. Say what you will about my own mistakes and my own bias, I make an effort to give you the links to my sources in every episode down there in the doobly-doo. In the rare circumstance a legacy media journalist bothers to give their source as The Trace, most viewers or listeners or readers or whatever wouldn't happen to know The Trace is literally Mikey Bloomberg's personal anti-gun mouthpiece. If you would like to give NPR a shout and let them know about their error, you could call them at 202-513-2000. Be nice. Well, friends, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoy watching these things because I sure like making them for you. Hey kids, do you want to get email alerts for the best deals, projects we're working on, and the hottest stuff you missed on the ARFCOM forums? You bet you do. So go ahead and hit the Linktree link down there in the description and sign up for our newsletter. And remember, our robot overlords in the tube of yous know what we want better than we do for ourselves, so they routinely unsubscribe viewers from channels like our own, which could contain wrongthink. That makes puppies cry, and Captain America is very disappointed, so don't forget to check every now and then to be sure you're still subscribed to us, and ring that notification bell to stay in the know on all the 2A news. If you want to help us keep bringing you banger content like this, please support the folks who support us. Not only does TNVC.com give you night vision with that cool, refreshing, never bitter taste that goes down smooth, they also have mounts, lights, and all sorts of other gear to make you the bump of the night. I love you.